and let's just play this out. If Ben Jansen and this team has another season like they did, and let's just say the offense has another very productive year, he has interviewed for the past 2 seasons for head coaching jobs. And the concern by a lot of the fans or a lot of the callers was that if Ben Jansen is no longer here, that Jared Goff is not the quarterback that we have come to know and love over the last 2 seasons.
So point one is the Jansen leaving thing could be a boogeyman. Like, it may never happen. Last year was a great opportunity for him to leave with so many openings, teams flying to see him, courting him. He turned it down. It's entirely possible that he is an anomaly. In a career profession built on ambition and climbing the ladder, he may have found somewhere that he values and is comfortable with and wants to stay as a play caller. So the boogeyman might not actually be under the bed. He may never leave. In the scenario where he does leave, I don't want to discount it because I think he's a good play caller.
Well, but here's the other thing is whether or not he's a good play caller, whether or not he stays or leaves, I think it undercuts the credibility of Jared Goff because of the quarterback that he has developed into.
Sure.
He's done a lot of that work, but it also undercuts the credibility of Dan Campbell and his offense. I mean, let's go back to the first year of the Campbell-Holmes experience, and Dan Campbell had Anthony Lynn as the offensive coordinator. Mid-season, didn't like how things were going, so Dan Campbell took over play calling. Didn't fire him in the moment, but took over play calling, and the offense got better. The offense has gotten better ever since then. Now, he did hire or promote Ben Jansen to offensive coordinator, but we didn't even know leading into year 2 of the Campbell-Holmes experience that who was going to be actually calling the plays. By title, Ben Jansen was offensive coordinator, but Dan Campbell didn't, right up until really training camp or even a week or 2 into training camp, say Ben Jansen is going to be calling the plays. I think Dan Campbell, coming from New Orleans, has brought an offense, and he has a vision. And it's also one that, he was in Miami as a player. He's got a number of different things that he believes works best in the NFL.
He was influenced by Sean Payton, though.
Yes.
And that's the point, right?
A heavy part of Sean Payton. But it's the Dan Campbell offense that he has this vision of and how he wants it called, operated. And he also has this vision that he's been able to share and voice to Brad Holmes about the players that he wants to be a part of that offense, not just the team, but this offense. And Dan Campbell has been able to impart that vision, impart what he wants this offense to look like on Ben Jansen. And the influence, this is Dan Campbell's offense. The influence that he has, I think, is not given enough credit for what this offense has become over the last 2 years under the guidance of Ben Jansen as offensive coordinator and Jared Goff as quarterback. You take out Ben Jansen, and I think Jared Goff continues to excel because the offense isn't going to change.
It depends. I think it depends on whether the offensive line stays upright. Like, we can get into what could unravel this. I don't think Ben Jansen leaving, if it ever happened, in and of itself unravels his offense because of what you said. Dan Campbell is perceived as a meathead, right? Like, hit hard, do good. He's more than that, and I think the analytics have backed a lot of his fourth down decisions.
And he's okay with that perception. He doesn't care.
In some ways, he benefits from it. But I do think he is a smarter offensive person than people recognize. I mean, he is the guy that tapped Ben Jansen. There is a succession plan we believe in place. It could be Tanner Eggstrand, right? I mean, they could be promoting from within. This wouldn't be a surprise
Loves
if Ben...
his tight end coaches, doesn't he?
Right. It wouldn't be a surprise if Ben Jansen left. They could not possibly be surprised. You're right. I do think the symbiotic relationship between head coach and offensive coordinator, it starts because he sets the tone, he being Dan Campbell. When they go for it on 4th and 2, sometimes their play call on 3rd down sets that up.
Yeah.
They are working together. I don't think it sinks the ship if Ben Jansen leaves. It would be an adjustment. I'm not saying it would be a good thing, but I think the bigger thing would be offensive line. You talk about things that could unravel this momentum with Jared Goff. It would be not Ben Jansen leaving. It would be Frank Ragnow says, I got an operable toe, dude. I got to get to the next phase of my life and still be able to walk and talk and do everything. I'm going to retire. It would be Taylor Decker, 1 year left on his deal, them going, Panay's going to the left side. You got to take a pay cut and play. You've thrown out guard and he ends up not being a Detroit Lion. Zeitler, 1-year deal at 34 years old. I mean, he loses a step. They don't re-sign him. If you lose 2 or 3 critical offensive linemen, as great as Penei Sewell is, Jared Goff's going to get hit. He's going to get sped up. The turnovers are going to return, and that would be what unravels this team,
right?
Whether it's Ben Johnson here or not.
If they lose those pieces and don't address it, Brad Holmes says, we're gonna put some Band-Aids on this. Yeah, that's how the easiest unraveling. But I was surprised to hear the amount of individuals that thought this is a great contract as long as Ben Johnson's still here. I think this is a good contract, and you can like or dislike the numbers, but Jared Goff is going to be the quarterback under contract for the next 5 years, and it's going to be operating under Dan Campbell's offense, and he has done a good job of identifying Ben Johnson, putting him in position, giving him some autonomy to make the calls and make the setting up something in the first first quarter, hockey mode still, first period, first quarter, and capitalizing on it in the second half.
How about them Oilers?
But it's all a part of the weekly preparation that Dan Campbell has helped design the game plan, given Ben Johnson the tools to be successful, but he will give those tools to whoever is the next offensive coordinator.